All right. Hey, Mike. So what are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to go over business credit cards, why it's one of the most important things, and it's a simple thing that all investors can do.
Okay, business credit cards.
Yep.
Do you see people using their personal cards for this sort of work? Is that why this is something that
It's probably 70 to 80% of the problem that we see people coming to us because they get into business and the easiest thing to do is use what you have available, which is your personal cards. Easy to do, but then it makes life a lot more complicated as you get into investing. It doesn't matter if you're doing flips or you're doing rentals. The cash flow company, our whole goal is to make this as simple as possible. We always talk about leverage or funding. This business is reliant on funding to create the growth, to create the wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And we just want to make it easier for you. One of the easiest things to do is stop using personal credit cards and get into the simple business credit cards because they don't report in your credit. Putting business charges on your personal credit, what it does is it drives down your score and makes everything just tougher. So that's what I wanted to go over today. What are they? How do you get them? And what are some of the other benefits you could use for credit cards? Because we're always talking about how do we make this easier, faster for other people and cheaper. At least it's somewhere between 70 to 80% of the people that we have that come with problems is it's just because they're using their personal credit cards, putting too many charges on it because they're fixing something up, they're growing their business, whatever it is, and it drives down their score. And then they go try to get a loan. And guess what? They're denied or they have to put more money in or whatever. The better the credit score, the better the funding you can get to create this wealth. So we just want to make sure something this simple is something that everyone should be doing.
That makes sense, yeah. Especially because, as we've talked about, credit scores become much more important. It's always been important, but now it's like way more important, right? Because you were saying recently that it used to be you could get a loan with a certain credit score, but now you're going to be denied.
Yep. We see it almost daily now because we do some of these kind of usage loans to help people fix their credit. But more and more daily, people are just calling and just saying, hey, I need an extra 18 points and another 20 points because they won't give me a new loan for a flip. Or they're going to charge me an extra 10 to 20% down because my score is lower. 2 years ago, you could add a 620, 640, and all it meant is you went from 4% to 5%. And now if you have a 640 or 660 and sometimes even a 670, you're just going to be denied. You're not even going to have an option. So credit scores are important. Leverage is important to create this wealth. So we just want to make sure you do it right. And this is a simple thing to do. Everyone has credit cards. Everyone's using them. So why don't we just make the switch over to business credit cards? And I think some of the things that people kind of slow down for because they hear about business and they hear about this corporate credit where you have to build everything through this like tier 1, tier 2, Dun & Bradstreet. And it takes months and years to do that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the same credit cards you use now, just in your business name. And all it does is it takes them and puts them, when it puts it in your business name, it does not show up now on your personal credit report. Since it doesn't show up, it does two things. It helps your credit score. And two, you never have to worry about it in your DTI or in your personal life or even when you're applying for a loan. So everyone has credit cards. Why can't we just make the switch over to business credit cards? And it's just because most people don't understand it or know it or get trapped in between that. It's like this corporate credit that you get into and it just takes years to build. This is something that's due right away.
So if I'm hearing you right, it's like it's not this corporate credit card that takes years to build. We're just talking about creating, putting like the same card you would use in your personal life that you probably already use, just do it in your business name, and then it's going to cover all sorts of problems. It's not going to end up affecting your credit score.
Yep.
That's wild. Why don't people know this,
If you have really good credit, and you're just starting a business, you could get a business credit card right now. Go to Chase, go to American Express. Any of those, they'll give you at least somewhere to start. It might be only $5,000, but it's somewhere to start. The thing with business credit cards, you do have to have a real business, operating as a real business. And most investors do have a real business because they have an LLC or anything else like that. It's just a quick setup just to make sure it looks and is running like a business. And then it's just building that credit over time. Because the other beautiful thing about business credit cards is it's the same, just like you said, it's the same Chase that maybe has a Southwest or United or Marriott or whatever, or it's an American Express that has Delta. It has the same benefits. It's just in your business name, does not report to your credit. But the more you use in business and business credit cards, those companies just love to give you more available credit. As soon as they see that you're using it, and you're paying it down in chunks, not your minimum payment, you could go from 5 to 10 to 30 to 50 real easy.
Wow. Okay.
And I think that's what some people are like, they're only going to give me $5,000 or $2,000 to start, but start moving it over if that's what you need to do, because it's going to make life so much easier. 6 months from now, you can have everything over. 2 months from now, you can have everything over. It just depends on where you're at.